Hi, welcome to the Home Expo Podcast. I'm Tammie Hartman, and we bring homeowners and trusted home improvement specialists together. Each episode explores practical insights that empower you to create healthier, more efficient homes. Today's conversations dive into the world of accessory dwelling units, those little ADUs that you've been hearing about, exploring how technology and thoughtful design can revolutionize backyard living spaces. Awesome. Our guest today is Olesia Chikunova, the founder and CEO of Home WiP, a company that simplifies the design and permitting process for small homes and ADUs. Olesia brings over 2 decades of experience managing construction projects and holds an MBA from INSEAD. She's also a certified ADU specialist who helps homeowners visualize and build efficient living spaces using 3D. Okay, that's awesome. And augmented reality tools. Her work perfectly blends design, technology, and accessibility, making her the ideal person to talk to about smart backyard homes. We've all heard a lot about ADUs and specialists and permitting, and it all seems a little a little daunting and scary for a lot of us who don't know like the jargons and the list and the abbreviations for things. And I know that Olesia can absolutely explain all that to us. So, Olesia, tell us a little bit about you. Like, how did you get involved with ADUs? Like, what did you do before this?
As you've mentioned, I have been involved in home building for quite a while. And about 10 years ago, I was looking for something um, to start my own business.
Hmm.
And I was looking at several options. One of them was actually one of the topics that you've mentioned was aging in place. And
Hmm.
then back in 2019, I've heard about this new law about accessory dwelling units, and I decided to go to Portland to attend the ADU Academy. And
Wow.
that's how I got this ADU specialist designation. And I've been doing small homes ever since.
Wow. There's actually an ADU Academy?
Yes, there is actually an ADU Academy. And if somebody is listening from different states, not just from California, they can actually get an ADU specialist in their own state as well.
Oh, wow. That might be interesting to get into as a side hustle, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, it's a very stressful side hustle, I have to tell you.
Yeah,
as side hustles go.
I'm sure it is. So why do you think like the ADUs are gaining more popularity?
Tammie, this is a very deep question, which can get us into a lot of trouble, starting from housing affordability, through zoning, through how lifestyle changed in the last 20, 50 years. And let's keep it simple for now. I
Yes.
love ADUs for two things. First of all, they're small builds. They can be very efficient, energy-wise, environmentally-wise, etc. And second, they're very flexible.
Hmm.
You can live in them yourself. Your kid can live there. Your parent can live there. You can rent it out. You can rent out the main house and live in the ADU, or just keep your stuff in the ADU while you're traveling. The flexibility is endless, and I haven't even started on like home offices, etc.
Hmm.
So it can be home office / guest house for when parents come for a long stay.
Hmm.
So flexibility is just amazing when it comes to ADUs. And and that's why we love them.
Yeah, and I think in the last 5 years, since the pandemic, more and more people have um, been working remotely where they weren't working remotely before, and having to kind of intrude on your own family space. Having an ADU, like you mentioned, an office space really separates your family from your work. And I think that, people were really interested in separating their work life from their home life, and then now realizing that it's much more than that. Like you said, it's aging in place, it's the flexibility of having extra space for family or rent it out, extra income, even just having something to buy rather than renting an apartment. Because I mean, an ADU can be the size of an apartment, but why spend like $2,000 on a 2-bedroom apartment when you can spend like maybe 800 on an ADU mortgage, right? It was for the same space, and you own it after a while. So that's really probably the most popularity like I've seen now is the flexibility with that. And what is the mission behind Home WiP? Like, what is it exactly?
10 years ago, I started to build my first home in California. And I thought I knew about building homes. What I did not know at the time that I didn't know about building homes in California. And I mean, you know me a little bit, so, I pick my battles. So I picked the property where I had to do the historical recordation, build new driveway, relocate the septic, relocate that historical studio with the crane 10 years ago, throw in some heritage trees, conversation with fire department, panel upgrade, all in one project.
Ugh.
So when you mentioned my business education, and that is like INSEAD is in top 3 business schools in the world, my construction educational experience was much more expensive. So
Yeah.
after this experience, and after I appreciate fairness very much as a personal value,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt that it was so unfair that as a homeowner, this what is called information discrepancy, like how much I do not know and how much they know
Uh-huh.
as builders, I just thought it was unfair. So that was the push that got me into this business in the like in the first days, and we're still doing it. And that's why whatever we do, we try to make it available to whoever wants to learn.
Hmm.
That's where the idea of ADU Viewer comes in, right? You've mentioned the augmented reality app that we have.
Mm-hmm.
It is very hard for people who are not in construction to envision what's going to happen in the backyard. The ADU Viewer lets them this opportunity before engaging anyone. Like
Mm-hmm.
before talking to me, before talking to any professional, they can play with it, see like, okay, I'm thinking about 200 square feet. I think I can fit more. Let's play with a 500 square foot house. So it gives them the opportunity to see what's possible. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is like the first step. And then we lead them further on. Like, let's look like, does it really fit on the map?
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to know about your property to move forward? So it's kind of all interconnected. The same as in construction, whenever you touch something, there is always 10 more things that get triggered.
Yes. So what you're saying is kind of like a platform that empowers the homeowners to design and build their backyard homes.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's really amazing. Now you mentioned like navigating through like permits and regulations, and what do you think are some tips for site evaluations, or some zoning rules, some avoiding some costly mistakes?
Um, I I think that's part of the reason people are afraid to go into construction, because they usually start with design ideas. So they rush into design, missing out the previous step
Mm-hmm.
that is about like what is the situation on site that we have to take into account
Mm-hmm.
before we start designing.
Right.
And that's where the site plans come in. And usually it's like at the back of the designer's mind, because of course they're excited to design things like that. That's what their job is.
They
And
just
I'm
want to
like,
get Pretty.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait. Like, where is your sewer line? And they go like, my what? And I go like, where is your clean out? And they go like, my what? And I'm like, okay, where is your fire hydrant? And they're like, we don't know. Like, you cannot believe how many people had to go with me literally out to the street to find their own fire hydrant.
Oh my
And
goodness.
if you don't give this information to the city, you'll just get the whole thing back saying that it's incomplete. So
Really tell you why.
they do tell you why,
Oh, okay.
but again, you've just lost like 30 days in between.
Oh.
And like in some cities, it takes a week just to take the project in. So like add in, so like suddenly you're 2 months out, and the rains are coming, and like it's complicated. So for me, it's much better if you know what you need to know upfront. Then we get this scope of work to design it that has a lot more restrictions, but makes it easier down the line for permits to be processed. And again, all the questions that I ask, they're all online. So you don't have to talk to me. You can just have a look and go through them with your selected professional so that they know what they have to take into account when they start your design.
Wow. Okay. I guess that's where the technology comes in. How to augment the reality with the 3D visualization tools that are streamlined in the design and the decision making. I mean, that's what this technology is all about, your platform. Is that correct?
Well, yes, technology is a tool, right? So that's something we use to make your life easier, to make the decision making easier. And there is like a ton of decisions to be made in construction. So the more we simplify, the easier it gets for you as a homeowner to get the project done.
So, what do you think the difference is between the fabricated versus the site-built ADUs? What are the pros and cons of each?
Great question. The usual pro for the modular is the speed of construction on site. So basically, you see less construction crews on site during the build with the modular.
Okay.
What you lose with the modular is certain level of customization. And why it is important is the fact that while a modular is very constrained by how it is transported from the factory to your house, to your property, it has to be a certain size. So, for example, if you're looking for a small EDU, it will be, for example, 320 square feet.
Okay.
If I were to build the same small EDU with the traditional construction, I could probably fit 450 or even 500 square feet EDU, which makes a lot more sense when you think about return on investment, which is an important consideration in residential construction.
Right.
So that's a big thing, and that's why I get very upset when I see, modular construction 20% less than traditional construction. Not true, because first of all, they're not there yet. They don't produce enough volume to give us this saving.
Right.
And second, whatever even if you saved at the factory level, whatever you saved, you spent on transportation, on the crane, and you're lucky if your crane is kind of small distance. If your backyard is big, this is a big expense. This can get up from 20,000 and even more.
Oh my God!
So this is not like this is not like small expense. This is like
messing
big.
around.
No. This is big number. And the second thing that is very upsetting is a lot of people, a lot of journalists put this news articles. Oh, now you can buy a 20,000 house from an Amazon. And I go like, oh, I'm sorry, you cannot. You can buy the studs for the house. Yes, you can buy the metal studs or panel whatever, but not the whole house, because like half of the expense is actually in the site prep, right? It's in the utilities. Like, how do you get all this connected? Because the house is not a home without water, without power, and without solar. Like, we
Hmm.
all like our little comforts. So
Yeah.
that's yeah. These are the kind of the major things that I have to think about when people come to me with a modular, and I'm like, let's look, let's see if there is a modular that actually fits your backyard. Then I'm all for it because it makes sense. But if I see that okay, with the modular we can fit in 300, but with the custom we can do 750. I mean, come on, let's do 750.
Yeah, why not? I mean, and what I've noticed in designing my backyard ADU is that the electrical panel that I have on my house needs to be upgraded. And it's like $10,000 plus the extra 4,000 or $3,000 to like dig the trench for the sewage line because I can't have a septic. And they don't realize that all of that is taken into account as well. It's not
Yeah,
just, I mean, if you just want to put a shed in your backyard, that's easy. You just go down to the local lumber store and buy a shed. But if you're going to live in it, it's got to be safe,
yeah.
right?
It's
So,
got to be safe. It's got to be built according to building codes.
yeah.
And like sometimes people ask me, like, why are you putting this little thing here? Should it even be here? I go, like, yep, building code. And
Yeah.
they go like, what is it? And I go, well, that's a blocking for your future grab bar. And they go like, we don't need a grab bar. And I go like, yes, you don't need it now, but if you ever need it,
Mhm.
the blocking is there.
Yes, absolutely. So, um, I know that some people are concerned about environmental and sustainability benefits. So what are some of the benefits of a compact living space? I mean, obviously your utilities are going to be less because the space is smaller, but you're still going to be adding that extra power, extra water load on the city's supplies. And so, what are some of the environmental and sustainable benefits of a small house in your backyard?
Well, first of all, the new house in your backyard is going to be much more environmentally friendly than your main house, just by definition. If the main house was built 10 or more years earlier,
Hmm.
the building codes changed, the energy efficiency requirements changed, and all this is incorporated in the new construction of the small buildings.
Mm.
And small buildings are so efficient that even the stringent California energy codes allow not to install solar panels on the EDU because the requirements, the energy requirements are not big enough. So
Oh.
there isn't. Yeah. And can we kind of circle back to the panels? Because I know you've mentioned your personal experience, and
Yeah.
this is something that I also insist on talking during the first conversations that I have with homeowners. Like one of my first things I do on sites is actually let's look at your distribution panel. I want you to get started on working on upgrading the panel
Hmm.
before we even go into design. Because sometimes upgrading the panel takes longer than permitting and building the ADU.
Oh,
So
okay. So,
I have situations where people actually have a finished ADU
uh-huh.
but cannot connect to power because they're still waiting for the local utility company to come and upgrade the panel.
So, what if we don't have solar panels on the main home? Can we just add solar panels to the ADU?
Um, Tammie, sorry, the answer is gonna be it depends.
Yeah, many
Like,
variations.
well, there is a ton of little things that go into it. First of all, if the ADU is shaded, then it makes no sense to add a solar panel. If the ADU is small and the requirement for the panel is less than, I don't know, I don't remember off the top of my head, but like 1.9, it makes no sense to add a solar panel. So if you want to, and if the sun allows you to put it, like you're welcome, but that's your call.
I think it would be less expensive than having to upgrade my electrical panel for 10 grand.
Well, these are not exclusive.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Like solar panels, we're talking solar panel, and we're talking about the distribution panel, like the main panel that feeds electricity to your house and to the
Uh-huh.
ADU.
Okay, so can you explain how all that works?
So the distribution panel brings power to your house to power your appliances.
Right.
Typically, the old houses have a distribution panel of 100 amps or maybe 125 amps.
Mm-hmm.
The new ADU, with all these electrical appliances that we currently have, will have about 100 amps just by itself.
Okay.
That means your main panel suddenly is 100 amps short,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to upgrade the main panel to at least 200 amps to be able to feed both houses.
Okay.
And this has nothing to do with your solar panels, because solar panels is an additional energy efficiency item.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay. Interesting.
And believe me, you don't want to go into the woods there, because now there is also a requirement for the new panels to be prepared for the energy storage systems.
Oh dear.
so, so, like, we are going into the woods here.
So, what do you think like the future of backyard housing is like? I mean, like what are the some innovative design trends and policy shifts that could reshape housing options?
There is, first of all, that's a lovely question, because it allows me to speak about one of my favorite topics at this point. I think there is a lot to say for what we call here cottage clusters or cottage courts.
Okay, yeah, heard of those.
Basically, we are used to having these huge main homes, and we're thinking of ADUs as a smaller home in the backyard. While the demographics shift, and now we have more people living alone, or we have more people with smaller families.
Mm-hmm.
And that means they don't need these huge houses.
Right.
So that means when somebody is rebuilding the main house, they may not rebuild it for the bigger house, but they may rebuild it into having like 4 small units on it.
Mm.
And this is now possible.
Mm-hmm.
And ADUs and ADU plans that we have in abundance by now give you the possibility to see what's possible again. Like, you can remember, ADUs are from 200 to 1200 square feet. So you can check how many you can fit and
Mm-hmm.
see, like, okay, we don't want to live in one house, but we would like to live close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not only for multi-generation
Mm-hmm.
family, right? This is also co-living,
Mm-hmm.
where 4 friends can buy the property, build 4 small homes, and suddenly every one of them is a homeowner.
Oh, that sounds, and I know that there's a couple of like tiny home slash ADU villages that are popping up. I know there's one in Georgia, Colorado. I think there's one in Texas. And there's also some that are popping up. There's 2 in Sacramento where they so I know that there's like these tiny homes and ADUs, like communities that are popping up. I know that there's one in like Colorado, Georgia. I think there's one in Texas. And there's also some available tiny homes for the homeless. So I think there are 2 tiny home villages in Sacramento that house the homeless because they're inexpensive. They're just one room. They have a communal kitchen area or a communal um, shower slash bathroom area, and it's getting some of these people off the streets. So it's not just about like you said, multi-generational families, which is kind of what's happening right now with the aging in place, or affordable housing, or having your parents have a house and you want to start a family but you can't, or you want to buy your own home but you can't, so you just build it on your family's property. But I think that that's becoming more and more popular now, as more and more people are understanding that home ownership is possible and getting to the renters to realize it's like, well, if you're paying $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment, then you can absolutely own a home for less than that. It's just teaching them about the responsibilities about the other costs, for instance, property tax and having to pay your utilities, or where to go to fix your water heater, and having all these resources available. It's not just about the money, it's about the responsibility. And although I have loved living in an apartment for most of my life, I like that convenience of apartment living. It's communal, it's affordable. Something breaks, I just call management. But now that I am also now a homeowner, it's a lot more, it's different responsibility. It's not more responsible, it's just different. And there's a slight transition from renting to homeownership, and it's not that difficult. So, starting off with like a smaller home, a smaller ADU, in your friend's backyard, your parents' backyard, your aunt and uncle, whatever, is like the perfect segue between renting and homeownership. It's amazing.
I'm not sure if you've heard about this new law that actually allows to subdivide the lot
Mm-hmm.
that make, and some cities are adopting it, and it's possible to subdivide those 4 small homes into actual separate properties. And
Yes.
then it makes the whole thing even more affordable, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what advice do you have for first time builders? I mean, some resources, any support networks, or some common pitfalls to avoid? Like, these are like DIY people that are
I,
going to Home Depot and buying a shed and then trying to like make it into an ADU. Don't do that.
no. Like, don't do this straight away. Let's do some research first. And I think the first step should be, and I'm sorry for the word, but it's self-evaluation. Because to get started on this building, you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses, right? Because you are supposed to be a bit of a research nerd when it comes to permits, zoning, etc. You have to be able to do the project management because suddenly you're responsible for everything from A to Z. You have to be able to negotiate with suppliers, vendors, subcontractors, etc. And also you have to be a bit of an accountant because you have to manage the budget, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to like look at this kind of list of things. And I love checklists. So uh, even my design starts with a checklist, like what exactly do you need? So you look at this like what I need to be and what I am, and you just find an extra friend or consultant or professional who you will trust with whatever you find as your weakness. Because if, like, I've been doing this ADU permits for 5 years nonstop, I still need to research every single property, and I still sometimes get unpleasant surprises. So there is, every time you need to do some research. So for somebody to say like, oh, I'll do it all by myself.
Good luck with that.
Yes. Well, yes, you can, but it will take you like a year instead of 3 months. And I know what I'm talking about because I do work with owner builders. I do help them to get their permits. And also then, now that I've learned by my mistakes, I go like, once we're done with permits, I'll tell you what to watch out for during the milestone of construction.
Okay.
Because things happen, people underestimate.
Like cost for supplies, for instance. I know that lumber was up and down. And so you have to add in like those provisions as well, right?
Thank you for mentioning that. Keep this thought about provisions. Let me finish with what people underestimate. They underestimate the amount of information they need to know about their contractor. Because they think that as long as it's a licensed contractor, they're done. They're good.
No, they're not.
When I'm looking at the contractor, I'm like, okay, how old is his license or her license? Oh, RMO. Who is the RMO? Can I meet this RMO? You don't want somebody to do the first ADU build on your property. You want them to know how to build homes. And in the best case scenario, you want them to have built the homes in your location before, like in your county at least. Because things differ. I'm sometimes looking at the permits in Sacramento and then looking at the permits in Palo Alto. One is 5 pages, the other one is 55 pages.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of
So and we're talking blueprints. It's not reading, it's blueprints. So your contractor has to know what to look for in those blueprints. And if he doesn't, he's going to miss things. And when he misses things, it's going to come out at the final. When you think you're ready to move in, suddenly the inspector goes like, well, where is this thing? And everybody goes like, oh.
I don't know.
Exactly. So like there is, I don't know how much I have to stress it, but it's so important to vet the contractor properly. And the same goes for the architects, because again, what they can do in Sacramento and what they can do in Palo Alto, very different. And if you're trying to work with somebody out of state, even more different. Yeah. So, yeah.
So you want to definitely get a local person who knows the permits and the regulations of your city, of where you want to build your ADU. Very important. Very, very important.
And now I want to get back to your point about provisions.
Okay.
You've mentioned we've talked about modular companies before. When I started out back in 2020, I've interviewed like 10, 12 companies in this space. Out of those companies, none are active today. They all went out of business. Even the ones that I thought was going to survive did not survive. So there is no way a new homeowner can figure out the modular company, if it's solid, if it's not solid, etc. It's gotten so bad that when I'm starting a project and I'm looking for a solution, I have an option A, and at the back of my head, I have an option B if something happens. And again, this comes with experience. I've seen people buy modular homes from the website, bringing them over from the factory, landing them with a crane, which is always a very exciting thing. A lot of neighbors love it because it's like it is an experience. And then they go in and go like, this is not what I expected.
Exactly.
This is not what I want to hear. So
just not working out.
If you're considering a modular home, do me a favor, go to the showroom. If it is out of town, fly out to the showroom, because there is nothing worse than a 2,000 buyer's remorse that you cannot return. Once it's landed in your backyard, it's landed.
There's no refund period. Bring your receipt.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So how does the Home WiP ADU viewer app tool help homeowners visualize possibilities for the property?
This is something that is very hard to explain in words. You've got to try it.
Okay.
Because it is a tool. It is an app that you have to download.
Okay.
You have to select a model that you like. It shows how it will look and the size.
Okay.
It tells you to go where you want this house to be. You're basically landed there virtually. It shows you the green square where you landed. And then you push a button and you find yourself inside the house straight away.
Oh.
You can walk inside this house. You can look out of the windows. You can walk out of the house. go back to your main house and look how this future house gonna look from the main house. Because
Oh.
when it's built, it's like it's always there, right? So you better make sure that it looks okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
to me, this is the start of the conversation with your designer, with your architect. Because like I've looked at this, I don't like this, that, and something else.
Mhm.
Now we're talking. It's not like, I'm not sure what exactly I need.
Mhm.
Like we need your input as when we design ADUs, and this helps you formulate what you like and what you don't like.
Right. Right. Yeah. I
And
know.
again, it's free. You don't spend $1 on it.
Oh,
Just try it.
nice. Oh my gosh.
One caveat there. It's available right now only in the App Store, so only iPhones and iPads.
Oh man.
Where, yeah, I'm sorry, we're not on
Yeah.
the Android system yet.
Oh, I'm an Android girly, but if I have to borrow someone's iPhone to look at it, I
Yeah,
will absolutely do that.
yeah.
Um, Olesia, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the podcast and knowing that there are more resources out there to design your own ADU instead of just talking to an architect. It's very expensive, or looking on a website and saying, oh, I want that one. It's, having all these resources available is really awesome. So if you want to know more about Olesia, you want to talk to her, we'll have all the links down below. You can click on the link, connect with Olesia, and thank you again for joining us. And as we wrap up today's conversation, I hope you, our listeners, have a clear understanding of how accessory dwelling units can truly transform your properties and your lifestyles. Olesia's expertise really highlighted the importance of planning technology and smart design when embarking on a small home project. Whether you're considering a backyard rental or multi-generational living space, the key takeaways from today emphasize proactive planning, like know all your p's and q's, dot all your i's, cross all your t's, leveraging those great digital tools we talked about, and of course seeking expert advice. Remember, there's that ADU Academy that she was talking about. So be sure to explore the resources mentioned in this episode and start considering how an ADU could enhance your home and community. And again, Olesia, thank you so much. We go back a couple of years. We've done the home expos together. I've seen you at other home expos, and we're so grateful that we have this extra tool for homeowners to know the questions to ask without knowing what to ask. So
Yeah.
again, if you want to know more about Olesia and this amazing app, if you're an iPhone user, click down the link, find it on your phone or your iPad. And of course, this episode is will be broadcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, our website. Join us on the newsletter, and of course on YouTube, if I didn't mention that already. So thanks again. We'll see you next time on the Home Expo podcast. Bye.
Thank you so much, Tammie. Thank you for having me. Bye.